a new loan system for students who cannot access the student maintenance grant. Labour state that they will cut student fees by €500 if re-elected. Sinn Féin wish to abolish student fees gradually over a term in government. They say to do so, they will reduce the student contribution and replace the lost revenue to colleges through the central exchequer. These type of promises have come up in previous elections in order to gain the student vote. Yet with a successful marriage equality referendum last year that saw students and youth get involved in politics, projections are high for student turnout. If people are still unsure who to vote for, they can use the Smart Vote website to see who is running in your constituency and what candidate is best matched to you by answering 30 questions about policy and comparing your answers to the TDs. Voting will take place Friday the 27th of February, and if all goes to plan, the count will begin the following day. I'm Jordan Kavanagh, DCU TV News.
Apologies for our technical issues here in the studio. General election 2016 is just over a week away. Speculation has reached fever pitch in the run-up to the polling day on February 26th. Jordan Kavanagh has taken a look at the campaign trail and got the views of DCU students travelling back home to their constituencies.
With the alarming cases in recent weeks of explicit images being shared of women attending UCD, mandatory sexual consent classes are to be introduced by the college's student union alongside Trinity College Dublin. Eva McCormick has this report on the recent events and whether DCU should be following in their footsteps.
UCD students last week in relation to revenge porn. I spoke to Welfare Officer Donal Harkin and DCU students about the need for sexual consent classes in DCU.
So after all the stuff that happened recently in the news of the UCD Trinity, we're looking to something for next January for the orientation talks. We have a sexual consent talk at the orientation for students. Like for other students in the years, it's hard to get them to come to talks. Like for instance, during Shag Week we had a consent talk, but it is hard to go. But we also put on a lot more classes as well. Whether or not students go is the question, but for first years coming in, we're going to hopefully have consent talks at every single orientation talk in Helix, so therefore we build a culture of it through the years.
Yeah, I think they're a good idea because then people know like what the rules and regulations are for sexual consent. So people might not be aware, they might think that something is okay. So then just bringing classes to make people aware, I think it's a better idea than not having anything at all.
I don't really agree with it, to be honest. I kind of feel a little bit insulted because you're generalising a whole gender. I don't think I'd be comfortable enough going to a sexual consent class because it kind of means you're classing me in a bunch of other idiots. There's no denying that there is a problem, but I don't think it's fair to just generalise.
You don't get that in the secondary school or primary school. There's no kind of basis of grading of it. So I think it would be really, really important, especially you've got people doing for first year, if you get these consent classes. So the university is more than just it's social learning, it's about understanding people as much as possible. So I think it would be a great idea to bring them in.
Yes, I do believe that sexual consent classes should be brought into DCU. I think it's very important. It's obviously a huge issue. I mean, just look at what happened in UCD. We need to start educating people about this.
I think it would be a good idea because I think it's happening a lot more nowadays that girls just don't get into the habit of saying no, and they're too weak to say no, and they feel like, you know, if I don't say no, I'm saying yeah, do you know, kind of way. So I think it would be a good idea because it would protect a lot more girls and probably a lot more lads as well, because a lad wouldn't know if a girl is saying yes or no. If she's not saying no, then they think she's saying yes. So it's all to do with that and the psychology of it, so it would be a good idea.
This is Aoife McCormick for DCU TV News.
DCU Careers Week took place last week and featured some opportunities for current students to understand more about what they can get out of their degrees. Kevin Kelly went out to meet the graduates who are one step further on in their lives and got their stories of life after college.
The game well with early frees from left half forward Chris Conroy, with the Cavan native kicking 4 of Carlo's 5 first half points. After a slow start, the defending champions kicked into gear on the back of some outstanding play from Monaghan corner forward Shane Carey, who kept DCU within touching distance with 2 fine first half scores.
Careers Week in DCU saw events take place across campus to get students thinking about the careers ahead of them. Events took place on many different topics related to careers, from J1 presentations to movie showings to LinkedIn workshops. The main area of help though came with info stands sitting around buildings which provided students with the help and know-how they needed. Siobhan Murphy is a careers advisor here in DCU.
The information stand is here today as part of a wider suite of activities as part of Careers Week. And Careers Week was a joint project with Students' Union and the Careers Service. One of the things that we really wanted to get out is to get careers out into all of the faculties during this week. We've had loads of different skill sessions, but we thought perhaps an information stand about how you engage with the Careers Service might be very beneficial to students. So as they pass through the building, what we're encouraging them is to really look about how they would engage with the Careers Service, how would they book an appointment, what are their options and what are the services that we offer. And we've had a tremendous turnout all of this week. So some people are very interested in one specific thing about postgraduate study, perhaps how to get a job. So we're just giving them a little bit of guidance about how they would actually engage with our service and how we can actually help them in a very real and meaningful way.
The Careers Office will help all students looking for careers advice. Just drop by. Kevin Kelly, DCU TV News.
Now, apologies for earlier on for our brief technical difficulties, but we will now be playing the video package. This week, a referendum is being held to seek the authorisation of the membership of DCU Students' Union to amend the Constitution. These changes will introduce an Irish language officer to the executive, modify nomination requirements, expand the deadline for elections, create a gender-neutral constitution and make minor housekeeping changes. Andrew Byrne has more on why you should vote.
Voting will take place this week, where members of the student body will be asked to vote on changes to the DCU Student Union constitution. The changes proposed by Class Council include expanding the deadline for elections to be held by, modifying nomination requirements, creating a gender-neutral constitution and introducing an Irish language officer to the SU executive. Currently, the DCU SU constitution says that the SU elections must take place before week 9. However, this ruling is currently being looked at because with the amalgamation with St Pat's SU, the time frame doesn't suit their student body as many are on placement. The proposed amendment to the constitution would allow the Students' Union to take place after week 9.
Because as it stands, if we have the elections at the present date, final year St Pat students won't be able to run because they're on placement. So by us pushing the elections to week 10, final year St Pat students can run. That's why I want to change it so they can run.
Students will also be asked to vote on the creation of a new part-time Irish officer.
An Irish officer is basically someone who sits in the exec and who is the voice of the Irish language on campus. So not only do they stand up for people who are studying Irish here in DCU, the people who speak Irish, but also for the campus as a whole, as DCU strives to promote Irish, but also then to make sure that DCU is living up to its responsibilities in terms of the Irish language here on campus.
Other proposed amendments include making the language in the constitution more gender neutral and altering the nomination process to allow for the larger student body. Andrew Byrne,
DCU's Get Involved campaign has kicked off in partnership with the RTE TV programme Operation Transformation. Rachel Keller has been looking at the initiative in greater detail, as well as finding out how you can take part.
January every year sees a spike in people's interest in health and fitness, with many vowing to lead a healthier lifestyle. It also marks the return of RTE's Operation Transformation to our screens, a show dedicated to improving the nation's health.
This year, DCU brought Operation Transformation to campus. The health initiative was launched on the 2nd of February in order to encourage students to make better lifestyle choices. We spoke to James Donoghue, the main man behind the operation itself.
So you take lots of students, they're kind of in the library some nights till 10 o'clock or they go flat out for 2 weeks in the library till 10 o'clock and they're forgetting to exercise and eat properly. So the campaign is just more so to get people thinking about stuff like that and try to get people more active about campus. So we launched it kind of last week in Things of Motivation Week, so people will start talking about it. Next week we're going to do Kick the Habit Week, so we're going to do things like that are detrimental to kind of your physical and your mental health. So we're going to do gambling, smoke and drinking and stuff like that. Then we're going to try to get students more active. At the end of the semester there's the 5k run.
The campus pharmacy is also playing its part in the initiative by offering a range of services.
These include the free weekly weigh-in, healthy eating recipe book and expert advice and guidance. You can also avail of cholesterol, iron level and blood sugar checks for an inclusive price of €70. The pharmacy will continue to offer these incentives until the end of Operation Transformation this year. Until then, keep an eye out around campus for other events taking place. I'm Rachel Callagher with DCU TV News.
DCU have kicked off their bid for a second consecutive Sigerson Cup title in style as they demolished IT Athlone by 6 goals and 14 points to 1 goal and 7 points. Jack O'Toole has the full match report from the weekend.
DCU then extended their lead after a great sweeping move started by Dublin midfielder Shane Carty. After several hand passes, the ball eventually worked its way up to Michael Quinn, who then picked out Dermot O'Connor with a lovely crossfield pass, with the Mayo footballer finding himself in acres of space before popping the ball over the bar. O'Connor would add his second point of the game a few minutes later as DCU began to turn their patient build-up into well-taken scores. O'Connor's point was enough to ensure DCU entered the break all tied up with a half-time score of 5 points apiece. Carey started the second half in much of the same vein as he ended his first, opening the scores with a well-taken free to give the visitors an early second half lead. As the second half wore on, DCU began to pull away from Carlow as Carey continued to punish the host through the middle of the pack. The informed forward picked their former Brisbane Lions star Colin Begley, who in then turn found Ultan Harney, who kicked his only point of the game to give DCU a 3-point lead. Carey would add another free and a well-taken point from play before substitute David Mannix further extended the visitors' lead with a well-taken point just metres in from the sideline. Further scores from Mannix and a late point from substitute Stephen O'Brien would ensure DCU left with a comfortable win and a place in this year's semi-finals. After the game, we caught up with DCU coach Niall Moyna to hear his thoughts on the game.
Typical Sigerson, tough game. There's no easy games in Sigerson, and we've known that down through the years. We've known that you've got to show up every single day, and to be fair to them, we did show up, but you know, they put in a phenomenal performance in the first half and they really put it up against to us. But look, like last year, you know, the team found a way to win, and that's what we try to put into our team. It's about finding solutions to the problems that are thrown out at you, and lucky enough we came out in the second half and won it.
They seem to stifle you a lot in the first half. Obviously, he's entered the break at all level, but he's really pulled away early in the second half. Would you make any adjustments at half time, or what do you think was the difference in the second half?
Well, we knew they were going to play that game, and obviously they made the pitch much smaller as well. And I think that certainly didn't suit us, making, you know, narrowing the pitch by 20 metres, and it became a very, very confined pitch, and they probably ran out of steam in the second half. And you know, they have some great football players. That was, you know, don't take away from them. I really admire them and really the quality of their football, and maybe just with a few quality players and a better bench in the second half, and that allowed us to pull away.
And thoughts on the semi-final? Obviously, it brings you one step closer to your goal. Obviously, repeating as champions would be fantastic. Yeah, it hasn't been done, I think, in 20-something years. We're going up against the hosts and the favourites, loaded team. But look, it's a challenge. As I said to the guys a few moments ago, if you're not in, you can't win. So at least we're there, and we'll give it 100%. I'm Jack O'Toole, live from IT Carlow.
And finally, committee members of DCU's Media Production Society handed over their cheque from the money raised during this year's 24-hour broadcast. The society raised a record amount of over €7,000 for the mental health charity Jigsaw, a branch of Headstrong. Glenn Murphy went along to find out to get the full story.
88 cent. Last Monday, members of the Media Production Society's committee travelled to Jigsaw's headquarters in Dublin city centre to present them with the cheque for the money raised. We spoke to Jigsaw's fundraising coordinator, Suzanne O'Reilly, to ask her what she thought of the money raised.
We're in Headstrong and Jigsaw to all of the students in the Media Production Society that did such a fantastic job during the 24-hour broadcast in December. We're absolutely thrilled here with the amount of money raised. It's really superb, and it'll go a long way to helping support more young people around their mental health, particularly here in Dublin city centre when we'll be opening a new Jigsaw hub here later on this year. So just a massive thank you to everyone who got involved, for all of the hard work, for everybody who supported with donations, and really just helped raise such a fantastic amount of money and just really raise awareness around Jigsaw. So thank you.
That's all your news for now. You can keep up to date with the latest stories on the DCU TV website and YouTube page. I've been Simon Doyle.
And I've been Darren McGowan.
Thanks for watching, and a very good evening.